Hey, it's Arrow. Many times I've had the opportunity to break free some incredible conversation about martial arts. It is my way of life. It is what I study. It is what takes me to higher levels. So it's very fun to get into the art and the mind of those that study other martial arts, because I believe that somewhere, somehow, we are all connected. Well, we're unplugged and totally uncut with a gentleman that's written a book called Tai Chi, The Story of a Chinese Master in America. Its author, Marc Meyer. He unveils the story of Tai Chi master Kuo, who fled from China to the United States in the 1960s. Now, I want you to picture that. The United States, the 1960s. What Master Kuo discovered was not a safe haven, but a country divided by war and prejudice against minorities. How does martial arts play into that? Is it all about peace, or is it all about war? How is it that something as peaceful as Tai Chi can get you up and over the mountain? Or is it that we're moving through? We are unplugged and totally uncut with author Marc Meyer.
For me, it's just been really an exercise that's kept me healthy and just seems constantly rejuvenating.
That's so interesting that you say that, because a lot of people don't see that as being an exercise, but yet it's those stretching moves and being able to work your muscles and the twisting and stuff. You get those poisons out of your muscles, and it just really kind of just rejuvenates everything.
Exactly. And people, once I started teaching Tai Chi, many people asked me questions about it. What is it? Is it a spiritual practice? Is it meditation? One man even told me he thought it was esoteric. And to me, it's really just a nuts and bolts exercise that I practice for health and longevity, just like the Chinese do.
In martial arts, I know that they taught us that what happened with the Korean way, with Taekwondo and stuff, is that it was a mixture of the Eastern meets kind of the more, I don't want to say Western, but in the Western side of the Eastern world, and that it was the Buddhist monks that were sitting around gaining a ton of weight, and these men who figured out how to do like Tai Chi and stuff came in and said, look, we'll make a trade-off with you. You teach us your spirituality, we'll show you how to put that body back in shape.
That's an interesting story. I haven't heard that. I do know that there is the story of a Buddhist missionary who was the seventh son of an Indian Brahmin king named Bodhidharma. And he crossed the Himalayas in about 600 A.D., and when he came upon the monks, they were very sedentary. Their lifestyle was mainly consisted of translating Sanskrit into Chinese and doing a lot of seated meditation, and he found them very unhealthy and very malnourished. And he started recommending these exercises called the 5 animal forms, which are basically just based on the movements of animals to get them healthy. And it did the trick.
Yeah, it's a lot, even the front stance, man. I mean, that represents the cow. It's, but anybody who doesn't study martial arts is going to go, what?
That's funny, yeah. In some other martial arts, it represents the horse, so they call it the horse stance. But I know what you're talking about. And basically to center the body and strengthen the legs and strengthen the dantian area, which is just below the navel.
See, and that area right there, mister, is what I always say when people say, oh, you got to correct your soul, and they always point to their heart. No, your soul is down there in that region. That's where your energy is born, and it shoots out from there.
That's absolutely correct. In fact, that's where most Asian martial arts energies start, is right at that level, and it sort of issues forth from there, your power and your energy. And Tai Chi is classified as an internal martial art, meaning that martial skill and power are developed from the inside out through a process involving many years, as opposed to the reverse theory practiced by external systems such as karate or taekwondo, which can be developed in a shorter period of time but are no means more effective. Tai Chi is a very, very effective method of self-defense, but it takes a long time to master. It takes a long time to practice. And that's, they say it takes 2 lifetimes to learn Tai Chi.
Isn't that the truth? Boy, that is the truth. It's amazing how, being in the radio industry, you're attached to listeners that want to be motivated. You have co-workers that want to be motivated. And one of the days that they're on their low, I always will say, how tight are your pants? And they'll look at me and I'll go, I'm serious, because that region, you're shutting off that energy from going out and allowing you to grow. And you've got to be able to be...
That energy circulates, and that is really really actually the source of your chi. And chi just means intrinsic energy that circulates through the body. And that's the area in which it really originates.
Absolutely. You know, jazz, pop musician, writer, music teacher, mister, go ahead and tell me what your life would be like without Tai Chi in it.
I do it all. Well, Tai Chi has been such a gift to me. It's just been so wonderful. It's a gift that keeps on giving, really, literally, without being too cliched about it. My practice just deepens every year. And it's a wonderful thing.
Where along the lines did you, and maybe maybe this is just my own journey through martial arts, did you decide that, this isn't about belts anymore? Because after my second degree, that's where I said, wait, I'm missing something here. I'm going to go ahead and slow this thing down a lot slower. Because I feel like I'm missing something. It's so Americanized.
Well, what was your training in?
Taekwondo. Started out with combat karate first. So I started off with the Japanese martial art, and then I went into Korea, and then all of a sudden, then you start realizing the history of all of this, and you see that there's a tie-in with Native American martial arts, and it's like so, and you're all doing the same thing. It just has a different history.
That's very interesting. Well, what you said about slowing down is interesting. The form, or what you see practiced on morning shows and sometimes practiced in the parks and malls and the courtyards, is really just one of the exercises used in Tai Chi. And its significance from a martial standpoint is to unite body and mind through slow, diligent practice. And that's the reason it's performed slowly, is to train the body to move with the mind, so that when you speed it up, both react together.
That's what. Now, do you guys ever do like what we do in Taekwondo, which is you have the moments where you have to do it in where you have to speed it up to a 10, just so that you can see if there's any muscle memory at all?
That's not a practice that we do, but a teacher of my teacher, Swing Sai Liang, said in order to speed it up, you got to slow it down. Mm-hmm. And what he basically means is that you really relax your punch until the last minute, and you sort of tense up at the last minute when you go to hit.
How many times you've been caught out there in public where your imagination and your eye is seeing you go through those movements, and somebody catches you inside your imagination? Yet a non-martial artist will never understand that we never leave the path.
Yes, well, it's always with you. It's your constant companion. There's no question about it, and those principles come up in daily life all the time.
Your book, it's based on Chinatown 1960s, where Tai Chi had to have sounded more like a Chinese restaurant than a martial art or a way of life. How did your character deal with that trip over to the United States, where civil rights was really at war with itself?
Well, really, the story is about a Tai Chi master that leaves mainland China in the 1960s for what he thinks is the last time, and his goals are simple. He envisions opening a successful Tai Chi school and strengthening the bonds between himself and his Asian American family in Chinatown, with whom he's had little to no communication in years. And the results are surprising, because Master Kuo finds himself trading one cultural revolution for another. In other words, he goes smack from the Cultural Revolution in China, where Tai Chi and martial arts are really basically outlawed during Mao's time. It was against the law to practice Tai Chi and martial arts. And he trades that lifestyle for one in the United States, in which the hippie movement is in full swing, and basically goes from one cultural revolution to another. And his experiences are surprising, but his newfound family members, thinking that they're going to educate him into adopting an American lifestyle, find he has more to teach them at that point.
What kind of lessons does he teach? It has to be peace. It's got to be something that falls within those boundaries.
Well, I would say the first lesson that you see him teach his students it happens in the first chapter, where he disembarks from the boat, and the customs agent is being rather belligerent to him, and so forth, but he handles it with grace and just being very peacefully. And his two nephews are waiting for him, and they think that they're going to see some fireworks, some fisticuffs, and it doesn't happen. He just handles it very peacefully and very gracefully.
In fact, that was one of my questions I was going to ask you. Inside a nation based on survival, how do you feel writing a book about Tai Chi is going to invite peace instead of the foot-fist way?
Well, Tai Chi is really an exercise for peace, and martial artists, as you know, are trained that the first thing that you're going to do in a confrontation is not to use your physical power, but to try and disarm the opponent by talking to him and basically talking him down and just trying to disarm the situation rather than the person.
I get in more trouble with verbal taekwondo than I've ever gotten in my life because people do not understand that my short, to-the-point sentences really are to help bring down the energy of a situation.
I see. Well, have you been successful in doing that?
I get in trouble because what they do is they instantly they're going, you don't have to be a jerk. No, we're just controlling the situation here, sir. This is what's going to happen. This is what, and if you do not abide by it, this is what's going to happen. So really the choice is yours, and winning is a choice, so we're all going to walk away from here having a beautiful day today.
Right, I got you. That's a very good approach, I think. I try not to let on what I know.
I'm totally with you important on that. That's a very big Bruce Lee rule. Don't let them see your book.
Absolutely not. Don't let them know that you know anything.
Right.
And just try and talk them down, sort of the way a cop would. Just be very patient, and when you talk to the person, and try and use a calm tone of voice. And just try and talk him down from his anxiety level, because really he's projecting from his anxiety.
Do you believe in the 3 rule? The first rule is basically the verbal taekwondo. Your hands go up and it's like, hey, everything's cool today. Rule number 2, when they come at you a second time, you're going, no, seriously, everything's fine today, right? We're all going to have a great night. Third rule, I'm afraid we have to clear a situation so I can get out of here before you injure me.
Well, that's interesting. Tai Chi teaches you not to prepare for any situation necessarily, or assume any posture or stance, but to be just sort of mentally prepared.
Yes.
Not to physically prepare or take any type of martial stance or anything like that.
Did you ever read the book Steal My Art, which was based on...
Steal My Art, yes, I did. Yes, about Tsung Fui Liang. Yes, another teacher of my teachers, as a matter of fact. Very interesting book.
That to me was a life changer in the way of how I handle business, because there are so many people that aren't walking the path, and it's like, so people will come in here all the time, they'll go, how much is it going to cost? No, it's not going to cost you anything. I want you to steal my art. And they have no clue what we're talking about. In writing this book...
But it's a wonderful book, and it's very appropriately named,
but
I think.
In writing your book, are you not, in essence, allowing the continuation of Tai Chi to move through you to the next generation?
Well, that's what I'm hoping to do, is, when I started it, I thought, well, if I could craft a family story around it with some interesting and memorable characters, that I could sort of slip in some truths about it at the same time so people could really learn about it. That was my intention, because so many people had asked me questions about it, and many people in the United States and the Western culture still don't know very much about Tai Chi. And it's kind of mysterious, and that's kind of what I like about it. And actually, our servicemen stationed in Okinawa were the first people to introduce Asian martial arts like judo and karate to Americans in the 50s and the 60s. In fact, James Cagney, was stationed in Okinawa, used judo techniques for the fight scenes in his movie Blood on the Sun. And the scenes were so exciting that the film industry really started paying attention after that.
Yeah, and
that film really started it all in terms of movies cropping up like Billy Jack and the Bruce Lee movies and movies featuring Chuck Norris.
Man. And you know what? And it did change the course of America. The only problem is, though, is it made everybody a little bit more standoffish, and and everybody, they can fake their way to it. And being an instructor, I can't tell you how many parents have walked up to me trying to pay for that black belt. And I look at them going, don't, you're not offending me. You're offending the 2,000 years before me by
Exactly.
offering that kind of money.
You know, very much there is the prevalence of these sort of McDojos, we call them. Where the kid gets a black belt in a month, you know, and they take him out for pizza. And really there is quite a prevalence of that here. And the student isn't really taught that it takes years and years to really master a martial art. In fact, Bob Smith, who was also stationed overseas at the time, who happened to be in Taiwan and got to know all of these famous Chinese masters when he was there, said famously that America is the land of masters, and that Americans don't want to learn a martial art so much as to become a master.
Isn't that crazy? Hey, 5 years ago today, I was sitting in a hospital where the doctor was telling me that I was having a heart attack, and I went into a state of meditation. And I will always tell people it's because of martial arts that I was up and walking around and out of that hospital in 2 days. Do you not agree that Tai Chi can do the same thing to the human mind, body, and soul?
That's wonderful, Aro. And I like to encourage people that practice martial arts to do seated meditation, because it tends to, how do I say this? It tends to balance things out a little bit and take some of the anger out of what you're practicing to focus on a bit of seated meditation every day as well as your practice.
And seated meditation, meaning is it still going through the motion of working the wrists, stretching out the arms, stretching those muscles, and you can't. How can you explain on the radio what these moves are that we do unless you physically? Because my eye will be right at the tip of that finger, making sure I'm not going above my eye, below my eye, where my shoulder level is. It's like you know where your muscles are all the time.
Yes, exactly. And you should know where they are without actually thinking about it. Mm-hmm. You should be able to know how to get there without even looking, to tell you the truth. You should have it practiced up to that point.
How often do you do the double check, though? How often do you sit there and you measure between your wrist and your elbow or your fingers and stuff just to say, okay, I knew it was that far?
I don't do that. With Tai Chi, after a while, it's like a destination. You just sort of know where you are at all times. And the most important thing is not to get somebody to interrupt your center of balance or a center of gravity, if you like.
Do you think it's more along the lines of where the Dalai Lama says we have lived this life before, and Tai Chi could be that communication to that person?
That's interesting. I've never heard that before, but I like it very much. Tai Chi, I think, is a form of communication, subtle communication maybe, to teach people that kind of like the Tao, that the hard overcomes that the soft overcomes the hard, and that I think Bruce Lee said it quite famously, that he said, "Be like water, my friend. Be like water."
There's a difference between karate, kung fu, tai chi, taekwondo, and everything that's out there. But at the same time, don't you think as a nation of martial artists, there is peace?
Now, what do you mean? Do you mean in this nation?
Well, I think that what happens is that you can always tell another martial artist from a non-martial artist. I can be walking down a crowded street and go, by the way that man is carrying his body, he has studied a martial art.
Yes, you can tell that, and by his demeanor, I think also, because he is going to be the last person in the room to pick a fight.
They train us to run, dude. They really do, and that was one of the hardest things to deal with. They'd say, you're not there to beat anybody up. You're trained that if somebody was coming after you, leave. Don't put yourself in the situation.
Right, exactly. Well, as you said just now, don't put yourself in that situation in the first place. That's the most important thing.
I had a sensei for combat karate, and it was to this day, of all the things you want to forget about martial arts, the lessons you had to learn. But he would sit there and say, just over and over again. Don't hit the face. Don't hit the face. And we would look at him going, but that's what they do in the movies. No, AIDS, no AIDS, no AIDS. Don't hit the face. And I was like, oh my God. But that just shows you how even my grandmaster in Taekwondo was with the 1-inch punch and the punch that counts. And to be able to, look, here's the situation. Don't go. You got a choice to make, and the choice is always going to be a winning choice. Don't go. If you feel something, turn around.
Right, I agree with that. Turn around, or in Tai Chi, the philosophy is don't run, but get out of the way, just as you would with an animal. Basically, the philosophy is kind of like a swinging gate, whereas you press on one side of the gate, and it comes around the other side to hit you in the butt.
Don't you love the spiritual journey? Tell me you do, Mark.
I love it.
There's just nothing like, it's like forever music inside your head, and you just can't explain it.
Yes, it's wonderful. It's like I say, it's your constant companion, and it has just been a gift to me. It has just been a wonderful gift, and that's why I teach it, as I want other people to experience it as a gift that just continues to be with you and to be at your side.
And I love the idea that you've tied it in with a story, because Americans have to picture something inside their imagination, and it's just one of those things where people say, that sounds like me. Maybe I should try this. Right, exactly. That's exactly what I'm hoping, was to introduce it in a way that would be interesting, so that people would say, that's interesting. I think that's something I might want to check out. Well, Mark, you have got a brilliant book here, and man, I would love to keep in touch with you to find out about your journeys, to get more word out there about you. If you've got lectures that are coming up, then we need to get the word on iHeartRadio so that we can get people to come and see that the energy is moving through you.